Good evening and welcome to the news. I am Wulimai Nabuku. Coming up in tonight's edition, Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow says government will create the conducive environment for private sector investment. Minister of Land says the ministry's position to end land grabbing has started yielding dividend. And High Court convicts and sentences one Mohamed Conte to 8 years in prison for reckless driving. All the stories and more coming up in tonight's edition of the news. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow has said that government will create the conducive environment for private sector investment. He was speaking to a group of Chinese investors who called on him at his Tower Hill office. Thomas Neal reports.
Investors are in the country to invest in Kin On Iron Project. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow welcomed them to the country, adding that Sierra Leone and China relationship has existed for far too long and have gone beyond traditional ties to investment opportunities. He said with the start of their operations, thousands of jobs will be created for Sierra Leoneans, whilst the economy will boom.
Objective is to ensure that the companies operate here, they do their business very well, so that they can increase the revenue for the government. The second objective is to create employment for our people. More importantly, the idea that they want to set up a steel industry is also a very excellent idea. We are ready to provide the environment for the investment to grow.
Kin O representative Gilbert Zhu expressed her interest and strong will to realize production of iron ore project, especially after further discussion with President Biu in China. The deputy mayor of municipal government of Andan, Mr. Gao, said he was happy about the solid foundation laid out by China Kin O during their past years and great potential for the investment in Sierra Leone for the mutual benefit of Sierra Leone and China. For News Hour in Freetown, Thomas Neal reporting.
The Minister of Lands, Housing and Environment has said that his ministry's position to end land grabbing has started yielding dividend, with a good number of individuals voluntarily coming up to the ministry confessing false acquisition of the pieces of land they have been issued with. Dr. Dennis Sandy addressed a special news conference on Wednesday 26th at the Information Conference Hall in Freetown. Patrick Salia was there and now reports.
My people of this country, we came here this morning with the Gambian High Commissioner to our country to have a look and on-the-spot visit on the piece of land around Gloucester Saddle area that has been identified purely for the operations and eventual construction of government buildings and entities that will transform the landscape of our country for the good of all Sierra Leoneans. So I came here this morning with him, in the presence of our fine security personnel, so that we can see what we'll do in terms of moving this country forward.
My mission is that to reinforce the friendly relationship, the sisterly relationship between the Republic of Sierra Leone and the Gambia. We agreed that we will exchange land for the purpose of building our embassies in our various countries. The Gambia had already allocated this land, and an embassy has been built in Gambia for the purpose of housing the embassy. We are here today to see the piece of land that could be earmarked for the purpose of building a Gambian embassy, a Gambian High Commission here. And I am quite impressed with what Minister Sandy has shown me today, being a place which, with the foresight that he has shown me, this will be not only for the purpose of building our embassy here, but it will be a general change of the entire landscape in this area. And we believe that by the time it finishes, it will do all of us proud, and the Gambia would be happy.
Reckless driving and motor accidents are on the increase and cause for concern from citizens. In one of these cases, where an accused, Mohamed Conte, has been convicted and sentenced to 8 years in prison by High Court Judge Justice Alusain Sise for driving in a reckless manner and unlawfully killing one Hannah Bailey on Sunday, September 24th, 2017. Aminash Nyande Brahma filed in this report.
An accused, Mohamed Conte, was arraigned on 2 count charges of dangerous driving leading to death and driving without a driver's license before High Court Judge Justice Alusain Sise. He is one of the judges appointed by the Chief Justice of Sierra Leone to sit over some cases in the call-over session. Police allege that Mohamed Conte on Sunday, September 24th, 2017, drove in a reckless manner without a driver's license and unlawfully killing one Hannah Bailey, to which he pleaded guilty to the offenses and begged for mercy. State Prosecuting Counsel Ahmed James Maxwell Bokai informed the judge that he lied on the evidence as charged and urged the judge to sentence the accused.
Well, Bangbatok is one of the economically viable areas in the Moyamba district, as mining, fishing and agriculture are the main sources of livelihood for the people. Some people are in other economic activities like commercial bike riding and wood cutting. SLBC's Rose Konima Stevens was at Bangbatok recently and filed in this report.
People in this community largely depend on fishing as their major source of livelihood. Ali Sumaila, alias Focus, faces constraints at sea when buying from fishermen, he opined. Ali noted that he buys ice cubes from vendors and other items needed for his journey at sea.
If government can help us have a cool room in Bangbatok and sells ice cube to us at a cost recovery basis and at the same time provide storage for our fishes brought from the sea, the better for both government and us, because I spend over 1 million leones per trip, and if I return without achieving a catch, it will be a very big loss for me and my family, even though I provide job opportunity for 8 people each time I travel to sea.
Hawa Baby Sise told SLBC that the problem of hiking prices is due to the way they buy their products from wholesalers. She said that Bangbatok is miles away from the city with a very deplorable road. For foodstuffs and other products to reach them costs time and money. She called on government for speedy construction of their road. Mohammed Kamara, a woodcutter, had been in the business for over 5 years. To him, his business is lucrative. He usually cuts mangroves from the Ramsar sites. But Mohammed is unaware that wetlands play a vital role in climate change adaptation and mitigation, and that progressive encroachment on and loss of wetlands cause serious and sometimes irreparable environmental change to ecosystems. This area should be restored and rehabilitated whenever possible and should always be conserved. SLBC News, Rose Konima Stevens.
Business is knowledge. This is according to the Chief Executive Officer of the Union Trust Bank, Sierra Leone, Dr. Samfa Kuruma. He said this at a one-day training organized for 300 women entrepreneurs drawn from different parts of the country. The training was organized at the Union Trust Bank's headquarters on House Street in Freetown with support from the African Development Bank. Mariam Asuma reports.
Union Trust Bank Limited was incorporated on the 26th April 1995 as a private limited liability company under the Companies Act Cap 249 of the laws of Sierra Leone. It is licensed by the Bank of Sierra Leone to carry on banking business under the Banking Act of 2000. In order to improve the skills of women doing business with them, the bank decided to organize this one-day training for 300 women drawn from different parts of the country to improve on their business skills and get to know some of their challenges. Addressing participants, the Chief Executive Officer Union Trust Bank, Dr. Sanfa Koroma, said the objective of the training was to give adequate coaching and promote national and regional networking for women entrepreneurs across the national economy. He emphasized that women going through the training and coaching will become potential candidates for loan facilities from the bank and will also have other opportunities.
There are two special programs from the African Development Bank. We have a loan of $3 million for businesses for women. That's one. That one we are going to start disbursing this year. We have been selecting women on the basis of need and all of that. This is the second one. This second one, it is Affirmative Finance Action for Women in Africa, AFAYA. That's the second facility.
Manager, Small and Medium Enterprise Union Trust Bank, and Sumana Mana said 2 years back they realized that 60% of those who took loans from the bank were women, and they constitute a majority of the business people in the country. He added that most of these women are the breadwinners in their families, the reason why they need to be capacitated. Program Coordinator Action for Women in Africa, AWAFA, representing the African Development Bank, Makena Muti, said they are funding the project as a way to increase the participation of women in governance and decision-making processes. Meanwhile, Yayatu Sila, representing the women, said the training was timely. She said having collaterals to access loans is a major challenge for business women. SLBC News, Mariam Asuma reporting.
Director Quality Assurance and Management Mary Stopes, Sierra Leone, Dr. Felix Ikena Onunkwo, has called on irrelevant authorities to remove barriers to contraception. Last demographic health survey shows 16% contraceptive use. He was addressing journalists at a press conference to mark World Contraception Day held at the Ahmed Drive Clinic. Princess Gibson was among journalists and now reports.
Contraception is the use of family planning methods to have children by choice. This year's World Contraception Day highlights barriers preventing young people from accessing contraception, increasing unplanned pregnancies. Adolescents are often told that sex outside marriage is wrong, including laws that prevent adolescents from accessing contraception. Preventing access to the use of contraception results to unplanned pregnancy.
Currently, 3 out of 5 adolescents worldwide, or perhaps 23 million people who want to use contraception to prevent an unplanned pregnancy are being denied it. Adolescents are often told that sex outside marriage is wrong, while some countries have even created laws to block unmarried adolescents from accessing contraception.
He said Sierra Leonean women within the ages of 15 to 24 are recurrently exposed to sexual and reproductive health risks. This situation, according to Dr. Onunkwo, should change and highlighted some of the strides by Mary Stopes in that direction. Director Integrated Marketing Mary Stopes, Kunel Dihinsilu, said the vision of Mary Stopes is to improve public awareness of contraception and to enable young people make informed choices on their sexual and reproductive health.
So with each passing year, more and more people discover their choices when it comes to methods of contraception. With so many birth control methods that are available, choosing the most suitable form can be discouraging for many teenagers. We support youth to answer initial questions. And the questions are: which method protects against sexually transmitted infections? What about convenience of use of the methods that we're talking about?
Sierra Leoneans, he said, face serious barriers in accessing life-saving contraceptives and family planning knowledge about their lives. He called on government of Sierra Leone to lift barriers preventing many women and girls from accessing contraception, to empower them with information relating to choice. Policy and Advocacy Manager Maristop Sierra Leone Fudipol Kamara highlighted some gains in reproductive health. He said they will continue to embark on advocacy approach, especially with faith-based leaders, to dispel misconception around contraception. The press conference dispelled misconception around the use of family planning. Princess Gibson, SLBC News.
Academic and Career Advisory and Counseling Services has sent 9 female students from FBC, IPAM, Commerce and Njala on internship to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, for 6 months. The internship is targeting female students because they want more females into the institution, which has been male-dominated for a long period. Millicent Nungi filed in this report.
Academic and Career Advisory and Counseling Services, ACACS, Dr. Fatmata Taki, said the reason they targeted female students is because for the past years, they have been allowing only male students to do their internships at the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and it has become a male-dominated entity for very long. She maintained that they are dedicated to promoting student success and excellence.
They're going to put into practice what they've learned when they were students, but also they're going to build on their skills, the skills of knowing how to work within, how to behave, how to work and comport yourself within an office, how to learn. Well, there's certain things that it has to be practical. You cannot learn when you're in the classroom. So what they've learned in the classroom, they're going to make it practical, and they're going to improve on the skills, learn more things in terms of learning about work ethos, learning about office dynamics, and the most important thing is for them to go and excel. UNICEF at this time wanted to focus on female interns because within their office they found out they had a lot more male. The males were dominant. They had lots more male employees. So they sort of did affirmative action so that they can balance it out. And also very key also is you talk about building capacity and giving opportunities to women and young girls, women, and I think this is all part of the package that they have.
Country representative of the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, Dr. Hamid Al-Bashir, said the initiative has a very critical role to play in human development, and because these young people are ambassadors of the university, they are encouraging more females into their institutions. The acting vice-chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone, Professor Fodesa, described the move by ACACS as positive. He encouraged them to be punctual and make the university proud, as they are expecting much from them.
Some government pensioners have expressed frustration over the money they receive as monthly pension. They said their pension rate is very discriminating compared to past high-ranking employees of government. Joseph Toure filed in this report.
Life after retirement in this part of the world is very challenging, especially those who are receiving average salaries. These pensioners who had retired before the establishment of NACIT in 2002 disclosed that some of them are receiving as low as 10,000 leones per month, which cannot sustain them for even a day. They further noted that because of the limited money they receive, they find it difficult to get adequate food, shelter, not to talk of medical treatment. They stressed that they are living in a deplorable condition for which they are calling on the government to alleviate their suffering.
The concern is the amount being paid to us as pensioner people who've served their country. We've served diligently, we gave our all. So for us to be given pittance is a concern, because this is not being underpaid, but we take it as a human rights issue. If you're going to pay people who served their country so well from the pension, government pension ranges from an area of say 10,000 euros to say for me myself, I'm being paid 33,000 euros. And if you're looking at us, there is no one below the age of 50 here.
The acting Secretary General of the Sierra Leone Labour Congress, Mark Conte, said their institution had conducted a nationwide verification for pensioners, but only 9,223. He added that they had made frantic efforts to see that the minimum pension wage reaches 250,000 yuans. Mr. Conte noted that for a long time, attention has not been given to pensioners, especially to increase the present pension scale. He stated that there should be equity in pension range. The Secretary General also promised to continue engaging the authorities concerned on the issue. The Executive Director of Citizens Advocacy Network, Thomas Moore Conte, said the issue of pensioners is a human right one that needs urgent attention by the government. He noted that this is one of the reasons why corruption is eminent today in the country.
As an organization that promotes the rights of citizens, and we believe that this is an important issue that has to do with human rights, we want to call on the authorities, government, to look into the issues of these poor people, these old people, who have dedicated their services to this nation. Most of them have served for a period of 20, 30, 40 years. And upon retirement, all they could get is 15,000 loans, 20,000 loans, and 50,000 loans as pension. Some of them come from distant places to collect these pittances. We believe that the government owes these people a responsibility to provide them with a befitting retirement.
It is, however, worth to note that every government employee will be a retiree one day. The reason why the retirement age should be catered for.
You're watching Newshour on SLBC television. Lansana Sharif, aka Steady Bongo, is a household name in the entertainment industry and has released over 28 albums since he started his career. Late this year, he's planning to release another album, and from that album, he has decided to release 2 new music videos. Our entertainment producer, Mohammed King Milan Bangura, engaged him and filed in this report.
Lansana Sharif, aka Steady Bongo, is a household name in the entertainment industry and needs less introduction. Lansana Sharif was born in Daru Bambahun Chiefdom Kailaon district, attended Easy Primary School Daru, and later continued his secondary schooling at Ahmadiyya Muslim School in Freetown. The name Steady Bongo is widely known throughout the world, but one wants to know where he got the nickname from.
From school days. Okay. You know, when I was in Kenema at Islamic Secondary School. Okay. Yeah, I was one of the guys who always organized melodrama, concerts, you know. So through from that, I got the name from my friends, you know, because everything I did at that time is always slow but steady.
Steady Bongo has released over 28 albums in his career since his first album, Get Ready Before You Married, in 1991. And has received a lot of awards in recognition of his good work as a musician, especially his genre of music in promoting our culture. Years ago, he formed a musical band called the Cultural Heroes and has traveled to different parts of the world representing Sierra Leone in live musical festivals. He's been a musician his childhood dream.
To be honest with you, this was what I was thinking about. Even when I was in my elementary schools, you know, I always speak to myself, so, oh my God, when will I be a musician? I want to become a musician.
Steady Bongo was inspired by a lot of Sierra Leone musicians like Madam Ami Kalon, the late Big Fire, Kenya Samai, Bonnie Mac, and John Blah. The latter he wrote a letter to when he was a kid in Daru, just to visit him in Freetown and become a musician.
If I just stay in Kailanta, I don't think I'll make it up. So I wrote a letter to John Blah, my brother, it was so funny.
Steady Bongo has the quality of releasing albums every year or two since he started his musical career. This year, he has decided to release his new album by December. But in that album, he has decided to release 2 musical videos, Nadi Awadis and Mama Blessing.
You want for corner me, you face them in a full man. Hey, Nadi Awadis, on a soul you plan. Nadi Awadis.
Bongo said as a musician, he has helped sensitizing the youth through his music and has created employment for some in the musical band. On the side of politics, he said his country Sierra Leone comes first before tribe, region, or color. He urged the public to support the sitting government to push our beloved country forward and advised the government to take entertainment seriously. He also gives words of advice to his fans and young, talented musicians.
Let them keep the fire burning. If you don't make it today, don't lose hope. Support who is making it now. Your own day will come.
Well, it's now time for the latest in sports. Esther Marie summarized all sets.
Very sad news for football-loving fans across Sierra Leone, as one of Sierra Leone's finest referees, Victor Foemara, has died after collapsing when he was officiating a football match between Falcom 12 and Kube community football teams at the Kintom playing field. According to a report, referee Mara is the first in Sierra Leone to have died while officiating a match. Here is a report. Referee Victor Foemara was a household name in Sierra Leone football and was a member of the Western Area Football Referees Association. The 27-year-old was in Cairo, Egypt a month ago, where he attended a refereeing training course for promising referees across Africa, organized by Confederation of African Football, CAF. He met his sudden death after he collapsed whilst officiating a match between Falcom 12 and Kube football teams in the ongoing Kintom Football Association Mercury International Online Betting Football Competition. Raymond Coker, a senior FIFA referee who also witnessed the unfortunate situation, said they as an association are saddened about the demise of referee Victor Foemara.
All strength going down in your face. It was really painful and difficult for me because it was shocking. It was really shocking. We don't even have an iota of what happened with Mara. That at the end of the day, just having a word or two with him at the end of the day is going down. So for all of us, we are really, really down. As I'm speaking on behalf of the Referees Association at large, we're expressing our profound condolence to the Mara family. It is very tough.
The remains of Mara will be laid to rest on Friday, 28 September 2018. In that regard, the Kintom Football Association Mercury International Online Betting Competition has been put on hold. May his soul rest in peace. Over to you, Willie Miner.
Well, many thanks to Esther Marie Samura for putting that report together. And now to end the news, the main points again. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow has said that government will create the conducive environment for private sector investment. Minister of Lands has said that the ministry's move to end land grabbing has started yielding dividend. And the High Court has convicted and sentenced one Mohamed Conte to 8 years in prison for reckless driving. And that's all in this edition of the news. Thanks for your company. I have been Willie Mainabuku. Have a wonderful night.